Welcome to our March 12th, 2024 Board of County Commission meeting. If we could all stand for Anil Singh, we'll be giving our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Maurice Skip Ritchie. And Mr. Ritchie, when you're done with your spiel, please stay up because we're going to do our proclamation at the same time. So kind of a 2-for-1 kind of thing.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Let's join together in heart, mind, and spirit. Creator of the universe, author of all life, from whom we receive breath and blessing, thank you for our beautiful planet, our great nation, our state of Florida, and our beloved Martin County. Thank you, gracious one, for the leaders, administrators, and first responders gathered here today. Thanks to all who dedicate their time, talent, and resources to making Martin County a great place to live. And on this day, we give special thanks to all of those who have risked and given their lives in service to our nation. May we always be grateful for the sacrifice they and their families have made. This morning, we ask for your presence, your wisdom, and compassion as we discuss and decide on the matters before us today. May these decisions express our highest ideals and aspirations, and may they reflect and express your steadfast love for all, from those who dwell in island mansions to those who survive under our bridges, from those who dine in steakhouses to those who subsist in soup kitchens, from those who travel by yacht to those who travel by bicycle and on foot. Give us the eyes, O loving one, to see everyone as yours and as ours. May we glorify you by upholding the sacred trust you have placed in all of us. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chairman Jenkins, Skip wanted to say just a few comments about his career before we do the proclamation.
Absolutely. Please do.
I was asked to say a couple words about the day that I got wounded, which is a bit of an interesting story. I flew helicopters, the UH-1 Huey, affectionately known as the Huey. Everybody who's seen films of the Vietnam era has seen that helicopter. We were on a mission that day, resupplying some troops who had gotten into trouble in a valley north of my base camp, and the weather was really bad, and the only way into that valley was through a gap in the ridge line, which because the cloud cover was so low. So we were going in and out of that valley through this ridge line for hours and hours, no real problems. It got to the end of the day. We did our final trip in with supplies, pulled some people out, and last trip out of there, we were very low because of the cloud cover. I was very low, and all of a sudden the sky opened up, tracers everywhere, explosions. What had happened is the Viet Cong had been triangulating us all day because we were going over the same spot. So they had moved into position to open up with everything they had. They hit us with 50 caliber plus smaller arms. Tracers were going off. Incendiary rounds were hitting the helicopter. Armor-piercing rounds. I didn't find out till just about a year ago that there was 79 holes in my helicopter, which is one of the reasons I'm still around, is the durability of the Huey. But anyway, a 50 caliber round hit me on my chest protector, which they also called the chicken plate, blew a 6-inch hole in the chest protector, but it was a glancing blow, and it glanced off the chest protector and went across my bicep and took out my bicep. So I couldn't fly the helicopter, but my co-pilot was in good shape, and he got us back to a camp where I was able to get some emergency care. When we were hit with all these ammunitions, all my instruments went dead. Everything on the instrument panel went dead, so I thought we had lost our engine. So I dropped the power and went into auto rotation, figuring I was going to crash into the woods. Wasn't looking forward to try and escape and evade with only one arm working. But I saw one instrument still was showing that I had power to the engine. So I pulled the power back in with my left hand, which was still working good, and off we went and flew out of there and got back to where we could get some help. So that's pretty much my story, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Remarkable story.
All right, next, to start off, we have a proclamation declaring Vietnam War Veterans Day in Martin County, Florida. Many of the brave men and women who served in Vietnam came home to a welcome unbefitting their dedicated service. Remembrances on Vietnam War Veterans Day are to ensure that this never happens again and that our returning troops from current and future conflicts receive the full honor and respect that their noble and selfless service merits. The board offers this remembrance on March 29th, 2024, to those veterans and their families as a commitment that they shall not be forgotten, but held in esteem for their service to their country and our nation. And here to accept, we have Mr. Ritchie, who you just heard from, helicopter pilot in Vietnam, Ms. Nancy John, who is a Vietnam service member spouse, as well as Chapter 1041, Vietnam Veterans of America.
So, Commissioners, Ms. Nancy John will also, as was noted, will be receiving this proclamation. Sometimes an often forgotten population is the survivors of combat veterans. Many combat veterans say that the battle doesn't really truly begin until they get home, and she has a really compelling story that she wants to share with you. Her husband, Jeffrey John, a combat infantryman, a hero.
Good morning.
Thank you. Whew. I'm here now.
You can pull the mic down a little bit. There you go.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Dan for all his help that he's given me since I lost my husband. And all the servicemen that are in the room today, I thank you all for your wonderful service and a heartwarming welcome home in. I feel humbled and honored to have this chance to speak for the soldiers' family, the moms and dads, husbands, wives, children, extended family and friends who loved and worked with our wounded soldiers. I'm Nancy John. I lost my wounded husband 3 months ago. And honestly, how can you say a death is beautiful? But he was in the hospice care down in West Palm Beach in the VA hospital, hospice center, and they loved on him, took care of him, and I could never have gotten a better gift to let my husband go home to the Lord than that. Going through the process of grieving, I found myself not only reflecting on my life as a wife, parent, grandmother, and now I'm a great-grandmother. I also reflected on my journey as a soldier's wife whose husband was in combat. our separating, our homecomings, our journey and recovering, his death, and now my recovering. I can only tell you my story. I speak for all the spouses who walked in my shoes. I was a new bride when Jeff, my husband, was sent to Vietnam. As an infantryman, humping, as he said, his M60 machine gun. Boots on the ground, Army man, under the Marines. One thing Jeff and I promised was be open and honest in our relationship. We promised to write often, as often as possible, and share our days. He shared his complicated day, so I could feel I was with him, and I shared mine. Jeff would say that he felt my presence throughout the day, and I also felt his. I brought the letters that he sent over the course of the time he was in Nam. I never read them again, and he also asked me 20 years ago if I had them. And we both said, we lived it once, we're not going to live it again. Whether I ever look at them again, I'll never know. But right now, I'm blessed to have them. I'm not going to share his military experiences or his injuries. This talk is not about him or the service, it's about all the surviving family members. Jeff was literally dropped off in the jungle during the monsoon season in the northern part of Vietnam, Quan Tri, near the DMZ. He never saw a base camp the entire time he was in the jungle. He was there when I was there when Jeff got jungle rot, having boots on the ground for 3 straight months. I was there during night watch in the rain and having leeches crawling under his uniform and gnats swarming under the brim of his hat to stay dry. The most impossible part was not moving because the enemy was all around. And any movement could be life for the soldiers he was guarding. I was there when the Red Cross called and said he was missing in action. There was a lot of gunfire, but they did not know where he was. I was there the morning I got a note from Jeff saying that he was alive. And he woke up, he said, I woke up, I know I'm underground, I have no idea where I am, but I have a Purple Heart on my shirt. I was there when I called the Red Cross to inform them that my husband was alive. This was weeks, it was months later, but please, I begged them, please find him. I was there when he finally made it home in a stretcher. And he had thumbs up and a big grin on his face. I was there through the hospital stay and the lengthy recovery at home. I was there, sadly, to witness the reaction of his homecoming. The Vietnamese war soldiers were rejected, and it made me sick. I was there when I became a protective wife and tried to shield him. I was there when Jeff refused to watch any news. And by the way, I was there for all that time watching the night news as they flashed the casualties across the screen and tell you where those casualties occurred. I was there for 55 years, living with a man who buried the war in his mind and had PTSD. And believe me, every day was not the best. It wasn't easy. I was there when he appreciated all the little things in life that he took for granted. And he decided to mentally take off his soldier uniform and put on the armor of God. I was there when Jeff took off that uniform, and I watched him give back the things that really mattered. Men, women, young, old, boys, girls, knowledgeable people, and people physically, mentally, and spiritually broken. He didn't care. He left such an impact on all the men and women that he touched. He always wanted to help, and now I think, reflecting on this, I think he needed to help. He needed to give back what he took maybe in Vietnam. I was there at the end, watching him suffer. Jeff would say to the doctors, "I'm being tortured. Please help me get out of the pain." I was asked, when he asked the doctors to let him stand up so he could hug him and say, "Please let me watch you sign me into hospice care. I want one thing. I want to fall asleep, and I want to wake up in heaven." I was there, walking behind Jeff as they wheeled him out of his hospice room to the awaiting hearse with a beautiful American flag draped over his body. This brave soldier, this brave husband, this great dad, this great papa, this great uncle, friend, and child of God, lived a full life and a godly life. I have been through the thick and the thin, the ups and the downs of life with Jeff. When I got married, I took Jeff's last name. I won't change my name because he's dead. I will always remain Nancy John. Jeff is my combat wounded husband, vet with a lot of hidden scars. Now I realize I'm not just a widow. I'm more than that. I stand here today strong and to tell you I am a combat wounded wife with my hidden scars. Our soldiers were buried with their scars, but there are many, many people, probably in the millions of family members, who are living with their scars still. Please continue to pray for all the family members and all the children that have lived with their dads who have been suffering since they came back. God bless you, and thank you for letting me speak.
You want to go ahead and do the Boys and Girls Club, or just go do proclamations?
The proclamations.
Okay, let's do the other proclamations. Second, we have a proclamation declaring Government Finance Professionals Week in Martin County, Florida. The Florida Finance Officers Association is a professional association that serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges and universities, special districts, and private firms. In observance of Government Finance Professionals Week, March 18th through the 22nd, the board would like to extend our appreciation to our government finance professionals here in Martin County for their commitment and hard work. And here to accept, we have Stephanie Murley, who's the Director of the Office of Management and Budget, and Jamie Robertson, who is Chief Operating Officer of Finance with the Clerk of the Circuit Court and Comptroller's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm deeply honored and grateful to accept this proclamation on behalf of all the dedicated government finance professionals who tirelessly serve our community. Together, the Office of Management and Budget team and the Clerk Finance team have exemplified financial excellence in our reporting efforts. It is with immense pride that I share our recent achievement of the FGFOA Triple Crown. This prestigious recognition acknowledges our commitment to excellence, with the OMB team receiving a national award for our budget book and the Clerk Finance team earning 2 awards for the annual financial report and the popular annual financial report for Martin County. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have contributed to these accomplishments. Your dedication and hard work have not gone unnoticed, and it is a privilege to celebrate our collective success as financial professionals serving our community. Thank you once again for this honor, and let us continue our pursuit of excellence in service to Martin County. Thank you so much for acknowledging our service.
And I'll be quick because y'all see enough of me. But I just want to extend my great thanks to the Board of County Commissioners and our county administration, as well as my OMB team of 11. We're small but mighty. We manage compliance of about $85 million grant dollars over hundreds of funds, 25 years waiting on our 26th year notification for our award-winning budget document, I must mention. We provide the financial support over 13 departments, and I would like to just commend our utilities staff for recently boosting the county's credit rating due to exceptional debt management practices and a strong fiscal policies. So we thank you very much for this recognition. We're behind the scenes, and it's nice to have a little shine once in a while. Thank you. Got a crowd.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of, yes, we're going to have to stagger a little bit, I think. Tall, get it back. Oh, yes, I think someone should lay I'll do a deep squat. Okay. Yes, Steph, you should do a deep squat. Deep squat. Oh, my gosh. All right, everybody keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Okay. All right. Get ready to squat again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now go to the gym.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation is a proclamation declaring Surveyors and Mappers Week in Martin County, Florida. Surveyors and mappers are counted among the founding leaders of our country and were instrumental in the formation of the layout of property boundaries in the United States that provide our citizens the enjoyment of property ownership. In recognition of March 17th through the 23rd, 2024, as Surveyors and Mappers Week, the board would like to acknowledge the men and women of this profession for their diligence in meeting the continuing needs of our communities. And here to accept, we have Marla Moore, who's the treasurer of the Florida Surveying and Mapping Society's Indian River chapter.
A pleasant morning to you all. It is with great pleasure that I receive this formal recognition for the Surveyors and Mappers Week. As the current treasurer of one of our local chapters of the Florida and Surveying Mapping Society, an organization that diligently contributes to the standards of our profession, I am deeply grateful for this opportunity. Within the surveying community, one of our primary goals is to monitor proposed legislations and rule changes that affect our profession. Another area is to promote the encouragement for future youths into our profession through several scholarship funds within the high school and colleges, as well as facilitating certified surveying technician programs. We also host educational seminars and offer paid internships to youths who have interest in surveying, where they gain the skills and to be successful and thrive. We know and understand the value of promoting our noble profession and paving the way for those behind us. On behalf of the surveyors and mappers, thank you for this acknowledgement as we continue to strive for excellence as geospatial professionals. Thank you.
All right. Let's do a couple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. And our final proclamation this morning is declaring Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month in Martin County, Florida. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is present in 1 in 36 children, occurs in all races, ethnicities, genders, and socioeconomic groups, and is considered a lifelong developmental disability. The community organization Socially Synced strives to empower and encourage autism advocates to continue their tireless advocacy efforts in raising awareness and educating the public about ASD. In acknowledging April as Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, the board encourages citizens to work to accept, include, support, and connect with those who experience the world differently. And here to accept, we have Katrina Doyle with Socially Synced.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Katrina Doyle, and I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called Socially Synced. We are a group of dedicated parents and professionals who are committed to serving the neurodiverse population of the Treasure Coast. Socially Synced was founded by Diana Macchia, another Martin County resident and passionate disability advocate. Because of Diana and all of the advocates who have been on this journey before me, we are here honoring the Autism Awareness and Acceptance Proclamation for Martin County, Florida for April 2024. I often ask parents and advocates, who is their why? Because we all tend to have one. My son, Bentley, is my why. He is a rough and tumble, typical 7-year-old boy. He is amazing, a bit of a daredevil, and he is incredibly silly. Bentley is also autistic, non-speaking, and learning to use a speech-generating device. Autism spectrum disorder affects individuals differently, and Bentley is profoundly impacted by the challenges associated with it. He struggles not only with verbal communication, but also all social interactions, sometimes self-injurious behaviors, elopement, and how he interprets sensory information. While these challenges affect him greatly, they also impact our family. But we are learning how to help Bentley live in a world that can sometimes be overwhelming to him. While he has many differences from children his age, he is also very much the same, and he is deeply loved by many in this room. Bentley may be the reason why I stand before you and advocate for autism awareness and acceptance, but autism spectrum disorder impacts 1 in 36 children across the United States. It occurs in all races, ethnicities, genders, and socioeconomic groups. And autism spectrum diagnosis is lifelong, and autistic children grow up to become autistic adults. Our community lacks inclusive opportunities for people on the spectrum. Socially Synced plans to change that. I hope this proclamation inspires all of us in this room and travels with you when you go to everyday places, like the grocery store, and to your next community event. I hope you think about it when you drop your kids off at school, and I hope 1 in 36 rings in your head when you sign them up for camp. I hope it makes you wonder how we, as a community, could open doors for those who experience the world differently. This proclamation is meant to help us recognize that autism affects individuals and families differently, but together we can work to accept our differences, include others, support one another, and connect with the community around us. We are recognizing April 2024 as Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, but we could actually do it all year. Thank you.
All right, let's take a few. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Do the Youth of the Year, too.
Okay, we're going to go to proclamation number 1, recognize the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year candidates. With
Yes, Commissioners, we have Megan Shirey and Jomar Zelaya, here with the Boys and Girls Club to speak to this item. I tried.
Got my lame ass right. We're getting there halfway. Good morning. The Boys and Girls Club of Martin County's annual Youth of the Year event recognizes incredible achievements of some of the most distinct and inspiring members. Youth of the Year candidates are celebrated for their academic discipline, spirit of good citizenship, community and record of volunteerism, commitment to healthy choices and avoiding vaping, drugs, and other dangerous patterns, exhibiting leadership and support to their peers, and pursuing education, training, or career paths that they will continue to make this a better world. While the Boys and Girls Club is proud of and thankful for the more of the 600 children in the 4 clubs we see daily, and more than the 6,000 children that we impact throughout all of our programs, the Youth of the Year candidates have earned this special honor. I would like to introduce you to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Martin County 2024 Youth of the Year, Jomar Zelaya.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Jamar Zelaya. I have been going to the Boys and Girls Club for about 9 to 10 years now, since I was a little kid. And the Boys and Girls Club has helped me in so many ways. For the first reason, it has allowed me to get over my shyness. So when I first entered those big blue doors of the Boys and Girls Club, I did not know the world of opportunities the future held for me. I went from this little kid that didn't know anything and always being shy to introduce myself to a social butterfly now here that stands in front of you. The Boys and Girls Club has also helped me become a role model to all the youth because of all these opportunities. I am the captain of the Peer Forward team at Martin County High School because of the Boys and Girls Club. This allows me to help other seniors apply to college, and if they do not want to go to college, we help them define and create their post-secondary plans. I have also been able to travel the country to places like Atlanta and Washington, D.C. through the Boys and Girls Club's exploration tours. During these trips, I was able to see sites and tour colleges that I would have never imagined about. The Boys and Girls Club created an impact so big in my life, it even helped me create my future career in the medical field with a concentration in orthopedic surgery. The main reason why I chose this field of study is to continue helping others. Experience, impact, influence. These are the 3 pillars of leadership Boys and Girls Club have taught me. Now my goal is to teach it to the younger generation, one kid at a time. Thank you.
Joe, where are you going to college?
Sorry, what was that?
Where are you going to college?
I want to go to the University of Miami, and I found out in April.
Best luck.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
Chairman.
All right, let's do a couple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Keep smiling.
All right, you trust me?
Yes, I trust you.
I'm bad
I
at
don't
this at
know why.
home. Everything looks great. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh, this is you.
All right, welcome back. We still have to do vote on the agenda.
Okay, so we're going to backtrack a little bit. We got a little ahead of ourselves, so I just need to go through, we have 9:05 preset public comment. We're a little past that. 10:30 preset Office of Management Budget requires board approval, and then 5:05 public comment, which we will be way early on that. We have an additional item, consent number 8, adoption of a proclamation commending Raphael Angel Costello, Cerrillo, upon the achievement of Eagle Scout, which is amazing. Then we have no consent polls. We have a request to withdraw by staff, the Office of Management and Budget items which require board approval. Item 4A only is withdrawn by staff. With that, I'd like Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chairman, move approval of the agenda with the additional item of consent number 8, and also the request to withdraw item department number 1, item 4A, from that department number 1.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissenting? No. We pass unanimously. With Stacy, with Commissioner Hetherington absent. So 4-0, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Comment.
So now, do we want to do, okay. We will do public comment. So you get 3 minutes. After 2 minutes and 45 seconds, you'll hear a tone. That just means for you to wrap up. And after I get done mispronouncing your name when you get to the podium, if you would actually pronounce your name correctly, that would be wonderful. We're going to start with Davin, and here's the first one, Bozinski, followed by Gary Bozinski.
This is a little boy.
While Davin's coming up, this is for the audience and those speaking. Since we are in an election season, politicking is prohibited, which is defined as advocating the election or defeat of a candidate for a public office, either partisan or nonpartisan. This includes the use of words, dates, signs, props, and/or wearing apparel that convey a message of support for a person or group of persons. Thank you.
Hi.
Good morning.
Davin
Speak right into the microphone.
Hi, I'm Davin Bezinski. This month in school, we're studying government. Thank you, commissioners, for letting me see how Martin County government works and for allowing me to be involved. In preparing to speak to you about voyage recovery, I was told not to speak as a NIMBY. That's an acronym for not in my backyard. So I'm not, because this isn't in my backyard. My friend Alex lives across the street from me. It's in his backyard. My brother and I are able to ride bikes down our street. My parents chose where to live not because it's easy for them to get to. No, it's because it's not. There used to be hardly any cars on our street because there's nowhere to go unless you live here. That's not the case anymore. Now there's a whole bunch of cars. They're all trying to get to that place in Alex's backyard. I hear that there are only 5 people that they're trying to see. The owner wants to up that to 14. That's in one house. There's only 19 people that live on our whole street. I've learned that Florida ranks 3rd on the country for the most people that are killed as pedestrians. My little brother and I are pedestrians on our street every day. And in Florida, if we were hit while we were on our bikes, we wouldn't even be counted as pedestrians. How many more kids, parents, brothers, sisters need that to get killed on our streets? Why is Florida so bad? In class, we are taught that government starts at a local level. Today, now, this is local. You can help make things better for us. Neighborhoods are not places for businesses to get a lot of traffic. Some people like to live in a city where there should be businesses. But if you would rather live in a neighborhood away from all that, there should be rules in place to protect you. So I'm not here to say NIMBY, instead I'll say HAY, an acronym for How About Yours. Is that what you want for your kids?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Gary Badinsky, followed by John Dial.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even attempt to. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I respectfully thank you for hearing me today regarding the application for variance by Voyage Recovery. I'm a founding member of a veteran-owned business here in Stewart, and we seek to promote boating safety and initiated a not-for-profit arm whose biggest goal is to seek grants for veterans to get aided in training to be captains and crew. I'm also an interventional cardiologist who was brought here by the West Palm Beach VA to start their interventional cardiology program. I have over 15 years of service to our veterans. My wife is the medical director of the VA community-based outreach clinic here in Stewart. We are very sympathetic to patients with substance abuse histories and are trying to get their life back. They've been wronged by one profit seeker, and they shouldn't be wronged by another by jamming them into an overcrowded single-family home. And in no way should any business of any kind, especially an overcrowded addiction unit, be jammed into a single-family neighborhood. We chose to live in the Moorings and in Martin County for a reason. The Moorings is a quiet, unpretentious, ungated neighborhood where families can and do come together in each other's homes, yards, and recreational areas. The excellence of the Martin County Sheriff's Office, is well known, was not a small part of our attraction to this area. Yet even with that, the response time to a 3-car accident 2 streets behind us a few weeks ago had a result in a 40-minute response time. I can tell you with patients like these, violence, elopement, larceny will happen. It's only a matter of time. And this particular site is a business 415 yards down a 1-lane, 11-foot wide, dead-end road. There's not even a room for a fire truck to turn around. In spite of the idyllic country setting displayed on their website, there are neighbors on 3 sides of this business. It stands a ball toss away from our front yard. The ground upon which it stands is zoned residential and agriculture, and even though the commission says their hands are tied due to federal regulations, that's a little bit disingenuous. First, it's not the role of the federal government to enforce codes. Second, the business owner, in asking for variance by this commission, knows that you are indeed the ones that have to act. There's no science behind their claim saying that this will benefit their addicts. The only thing that is going to benefit is their bottom line. Ordinances are already in place allowing rehab facilities to be in such close proximity to others. A branch of their own business is 7.5 miles away. Serenity House, 3.7. Jupiter Rehab, 3.9. Sandy Pines, 4.1. All within the restricted radius. I yield to John Dial to complete my thoughts.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm John Dial. Some of you have seen me here before, and I'm a resident of Martin County. And I'm a veteran owner and co-founder of At the Helm Training with Dr. Bazinski, who, by the way, his wife is our doctor here at the local VA. We're also part of the National Safe Boating Council. You know, you need to vote no if you can on this, because as Dr. Bazinski is saying, these issues can't be deflected to a federal ADA regulation. Although I would advocate that the dangerous placement of a business with higher than usual needs of emergency vehicle ingress and egress on the street is at least an OSHA violation. What's the purpose? I mean, that's what we really got to ask ourselves. What's the purpose of having zoning and ordinances set by the county to be only dictated to do by federal government, loopholes, right? That's what it comes down to. Well, I think we're going to have one at the beginning of Rocky Point, but you know what? I'm not against that one so much if that's what that is, because it is in an area that had an ALF in there before. But the commission has a chance to avoid a messy and possibly tragic meeting down the road by merely acting now. In a way, this business was infiltrated into the neighborhood is pretty suspect. The recent history of the parcel is a single-family home sold recently, and the new owner undertook a lot of renovations and put in bedrooms and a play court. And then he put a higher than 3 times asking price on that property. It's sold immediately. I think you got to follow the money on it, right? I mean, it's the way it goes. But it's not easy, and why not? The license was issued for Voyage Recovery, which is apparently held in the name of BWS Recovery LLC. But the variance petition that was filed in the name of VRH3 LLC, but who owns it? It's a guy who used to trade on the stock floor in New York for a large firm and must like living in Boca Raton better than he does up in Martin County, right? He has a BA in business, and he opens and runs marinas. Wow. Maybe I need to get to know him a little better. I don't know. I guess I missed that part about the passion, training, experience for healthcare and addiction. He lives in what I can figure about 41 miles from the facility. And Dr. Bazinski's house, I've been there. It's a nice house, nice neighborhood. It's less than a boat's length from his house, about 80 feet, 80 meters or so. So, Dr. Bazinski's young children are students at Benjamin's High School. They've chosen to live in that, closer, not to the school, but in Palm Beach County. There's over 5,000 veterans that will lose their doctor if they move out of Palm Beach County or into Palm Beach County and out of Martin. She's my doctor. I'm a Vietnam veteran as well, and I hope we just don't lose our doctor along with our sanity. Please vote no on this.
Mr. Donaldson, your light was on. No? Okay. Thomas Onspach.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Thomas Onspach. I am a South Florida native. My wife and I have owned the property directly next to the Voyage property for 27 years. The Voyage reasonable accommodation request references the Oxford House 13 times. Suggesting that the Oxford House is anything like Voyage is like comparing apples to watermelons. The Oxford House is a non-for-profit where recovering tenants equally split all household finances. Therefore, increasing the number of tenants reduces the financial burden on each occupant. Additionally, there's no term for an Oxford House tenant. Their seniority in the residence actually rewards them with single occupant bedrooms. Oxford House locations are chosen such that the tenants integrate into the community and the neighborhoods around them act as role models. The $4 million Voyage House is clearly for-profit, requiring the owner to increase occupancy to bolster the return on his investment. Since the patient's family and/or insurance company is paying for treatment, room, board, for a predetermined amount of time, there's limited incentive for the patient to remain clean. Additionally, the patients are shuttled by staff members to and from the location for treatment. Clearly not the same as Oxford House. One would imagine that with the resources employed by Voyage, somebody would have proofread their application. The obvious cut and paste errors of having 2 paragraph 5s proves their document is nothing more than boilerplate. Voyage claims to be certified by the Florida Association of Recovery Residences, licensed by the DCF. However, no supporting documentation is included with the submission and not readily available on their website. It begs the question, why'd they spend $4 million on a home that they knew could only qualify for 5 patients, let alone steps away from a heinous double murder? I question the safety and compliance to the Martin County building codes for the structures locating at 18890 Southeast Jupiter Road. The structure violates the north setback by 10 feet An undocumented structure violates the south setback by 8 feet, and a massive undocumented lanai roof was added to the west side of the structure. Between May and December of 2023, the structure increased by 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a detached 2-car garage, and violations that I've already mentioned, all performed under owner-builder permit. The property was listed and sold within 7 weeks of closing the permit, thus violating the state building codes for owner-builder compliance, which is 1 year. No persons requiring the services, sorry.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Arnold Miriam, MD. Did I get that right?
I'm gonna find out.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Arnold Merriam. I am a neurologist and psychiatrist with over 30 years of experience as chairman of the Department of Psychiatry at one of the Albert Einstein College of Medicine affiliated hospitals. Among my portfolio of duties was oversight over an inpatient and outpatient drug abuse program. So I'm very familiar with the population and the risks inherent in treating this population. And I want to use my time to help you decide what are the risks and benefits of allowing the facility to exceed the current 5 unrelated person limit on housing there. First, I want to impress upon you that drug addiction is, once established, a virtually lifelong condition. That's why Alcoholics Anonymous talks about alcoholism in recovery in perpetuity. And that's because there are brain changes as a result of the action of drugs of abuse on the neural system. Because of this fact, people in this sober living facility will be experiencing drug cravings and be vulnerable to further episodes of drug abuse. It's an expected part of drug abuse treatment. Drug dealers are aware of the relapse rate and attempt to sell their wares to people in recovery, and it's virtually impossible to keep drugs out of such facilities. I couldn't do it at my facility. Prisons are unable to keep drugs of abuse out of the prisons. To think that drugs of abuse will not be available to people in a suburban sober house is foolishness. So there will be overdoses with potentially lethal consequences, and there will be a demand for emergency vehicles to arrive. And as has been described, the facility on a 1-lane rural road is not amenable to that. I have to stop, I believe.
Yeah, your time's up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, Carmelie Hassel.
Greetings, Martin County Commissioner and Magistrate. It is a privilege as a Martin County resident to speak before you with my concerns for our community in regard to voyage recovery at 18890 Southeast Jupiter Road. My name is Carmelie Hassel, and I am a homeowner of 19001 Southeast Castle Road. Our property borders voyage recovery pretty extensively. We purchased our home in the summer of 2016. 2 weeks after closing on our house, Austin Harrop, a young man struggling from drug abuse, violently murdered 2 Moorings residents. We drive past Outrigger multiple times a day with that reminder. It has truly had a lasting effect on our community. Our family was hesitant to move forward, but what were the chances of that happening again? Slim to none then. Now our community feels like the odds of that happening again are high, especially knowing the fact that these patients are free to leave the home and treatment whenever they want. No one is forcing them to be there. With that being said, this past November, our house was part of a string of break-ins in our community. $90,000 in damage later, our house still sitting vacant, and now Voyage Recovery has moved in. This raises a lot of concerns. They actually have 2 livestock gates, one of which is wide open into our property. Safety is a major concern for me as I'm a young mother of 3 raising children. How did Martin County approve a Voyage Recovery to open a business in our residential agricultural neighborhood? No one in the surrounding area was notified. I ask that you please look into this matter more deeply rather than just their request for occupancy. And I'd like to end my statement in prayer. Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And our last speaker form is Mr. Tom Pine. So if anybody else wants to speak, please let us know.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Tom Pine. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 50 years. Once again, this county commission will use the consent agenda to approve $9,917,827.12 in expenditures from the taxpayers of Martin County between February 5th and February 24th of 2024 without identifying the payees or the purpose of the payments. The consent as used by this government is often used to hide questionable expenditures of our tax dollars, such as things as the $1 million in cost overruns at our county golf course, or the sweetheart deal that Martin County Chamber of Commerce got for renting our Jensen Beach Community Center to use as they see fit. I would like to take this time to bring attention to a retired hospital administrator, a centenarian, a local activist, Miss Grace Lynn, for the inspiration behind the Oscar-nominated film, The ABCs of Book Banning. The 27-minute film features Lynn speaking near the beginning and near the end with comments from students and authors of banned books in between. Free is not freedom. Fear is not liberty. Fear is control, Lynn says in a loud voice near the end of her school board speech. I felt like it was a really life-changing experience. A local 16-year-old from South Fork High School said of his preparation in the documentary, "It made me think more about how I could become more involved in the community and less of an observer." Check with Google to see where it's playing today. The ABCs of book banning. Our sidewalks are once again under attack, not only from golf carts, but now even more dangerous. Motorized bicycles can travel speeds of 35 miles an hour and higher. It's not unusual to see a bike riding along with cars 35 miles an hour. Traffic gets backed up, the bike rider moves over to the sidewalks. No big deal. Unless you're one walking on the sidewalk, then it's quite a startling event, to say the least. I don't have any thoughts on how to fix it, so I guess we'll just have to wait till some prominent guy gets hit. Then it'll be discussed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more speaker, Kathy Lauder.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Lawler. I am a resident of 7948 Southeast Peach Way. I am here to support the other speakers for the Voyage House community, or what they're going to do there. Our neighborhood, Island Country Estates, was late to notice, so we're going to get together with everybody else. But I urge the commissioners to really think about what's being asked here. I heard several concerning things this morning, one of which was this is not a local matter, it's now a federal matter. I don't agree with that. I think the commissioners should look into this a little bit farther. We are concerned about these people walking the neighborhood. Many of us are out walking our dogs, riding our bikes, enjoying our community. I have no way of defending myself. My sister is handicapped. She has no way of defending herself if somebody gets in. And our community is a series of basically dead-end streets where there is no way out. So if somebody does get out, they are roaming our community and they are able to hide, and there's really only one way in, one way out. Some people think that's very safe. I used to think that was safe until I heard about this development that's going to go in at the house there. Several of our residents are here today. I just wanted to put them in. There's about 8 of us that came today, late to the party. I am sure that all 38 homes in our little community that back up right on this property, when everybody finds out, they are going to be against it too. So I really thank you all for listening, and I urge everybody for checking into it a little bit further, because it's not what it seems. Thank you for your time.
Okay, with that, that ends our public comment, and we're going to move now on to Proclamation 3, acknowledgement of those citizens who have participated in Class of 63 of the Martin County CARES Program.
Before the residents of the moorings leave, we're going to do this quick thing, and then we're going to, at least I will be making some comments on what you said this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased, George Stoke, Assistant County Administrator. I am pleased to welcome some representatives of our most recent CARES Class number 63, believe it or not. These folks spent 6 days with us learning more about how we use taxpayer funds to manage programs and projects benefiting residents, visitors, the environment, and our community. Upon completion of this program, they now have joined nearly 3,000 other residents who have had firsthand knowledge of the structure and function of Martin County government. At this time, I'd like to welcome you down to the well so we can take a picture, but I'd like to read the names of the participants that have joined us in the audience and ask those participants to come up into the well and join us for a picture. So I'll begin by reading some of those names. Miss Penny Burnson, Miss Dixie Yeager, Miss Brenda Brand, and Miss Gina Braunschweiger. If you could all please come to the front. Into the well. We have a velvet room. Thank you. It's a different Congratulations. Is an old girls' school? All the best ones are.
Okay. All right. Ready? We'll do a couple. 1, 2, 3. Everybody's smiling. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Cummins? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to commissioner comments, and let's just cut right to the chase with Commissioner Campy, because I'm sure he's going to.
Thank you. Is Ms. Elder here going to try to throw?
I'm just here just in case anybody needs me to explain the process. So I'm just here to answer questions about the county process and what the board can and can't do. That's all.
That's fine. Nothing like having your lawyer listen to every word that you're about to say. No, I get it. I'm not mad about that, but I'm speaking personally. You all came last week to our meeting, and you had been very diligent about sending very heartfelt and very well-crafted emails to us, some of the best emails that I've ever read about someone having issues. The moorings is for those folks that might not be familiar, but I'm sure the neighbors are very familiar, is the neighborhood where John Stevens, 59 years old, Michelle Mishkan, 53 years old, were murdered in their garage, and their neighbor, Jeff Fisher, came to their aid and was also severely injured. No one would want that to happen in your neighborhood. It's horrific. That was in 2016. Affects the entire neighborhood, affects the surrounding neighbors. Can you imagine then that an organization would decide to pick a house in that neighborhood to put a, for lack of a better term, a sober home, a rehab, residence? It's illegally at this particular point allowed to have up to 5 residents. Neighbors have been, since the last meeting, have sent additional emails, came again, and we're not talking about a place that's right around the corner. This is as far south in Martin County as you could potentially get, and they've rallied their neighbors up to our meeting 2 weeks in a row. And because of that, because it's such a serious issue, their neighborhood is probably slowly beginning to heal, and then this travesty is thrust upon them. And they've been fair. They said, look, we're not opposed to rehab, we're not opposed to treatment. They have some of the smartest neighbors that, we got your information that the doctors that live in there have sent, and they've addressed it in every facet, which I think is remarkable that you've really thought it through. Now, we have had this issue in the past, as I've mentioned at the last meeting, and we have worked carefully to minimize those adverse effects of these facilities. And they sort of got quiet for several years. We didn't hear much about it. And I don't know what took place that those facilities basically picked up and left. There was a couple in my district that I'm familiar with that are no longer there. So that gives me some kind of hope that there's some kind of avenue that can be affected. Now, I get the ADA rules, and our lawyers are here, and they're going to tell you, it's a federal issue, and I get that. However, it's not, if they have 5 and they're legally allowed 5, I don't think it's a discriminatory on our behalf. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see it as discriminatory. If a facility already exists and has 5, then we've met our requirement for ADA. I don't see why we would owe the owner of a for-profit business the opportunity to nearly triple how many people can live here. Now, just think in regular terms, 14 people, anyone, your family, living in a home, 14 people, what that would mean. Now make them where they don't know each other. They're all in some stage of recovery, not recovered, recovering. They could be 3 days into their journey of recovery. When I'm hearing the speakers talk this morning and last week, I can't help but imagine when my wife and our family bought our home. We've recently moved. I could not imagine, after going through all of the details and the research and the due diligence to understand why I bought the house and where I bought it. Because you know what they say in real estate? Location, location, location. You're on this idyllic, quiet street. You're living your life. Some people have lived there for decades, and now magically someone just decides we're going to disrupt your harmony on your biggest investment you'll probably make in your entire life, and we're going to, in my opinion, ruin it. There's so many possible negative things that could happen. Maybe they won't, but they could. That could happen in any neighborhood with regular folks. So I don't understand, and I know this is going to go to a special magistrate decision and not the 5 of us. But what I would request of our staff is that I don't understand that if they're looking for a variance, that means they're, did you put your light on? Oh, that if they're looking for a variance, some kind of special accommodation. I think it's called a reasonable accommodation. I don't believe it's a reasonable accommodation. I don't. They are already allowed to have people there. They have, the neighbors have, the county has met their requirements to support an ADA compliance by allowing 4 or 5 people to live there. Why would we triple the possibility of a problem? So what I would ask respectfully of our staff is, as we have done in the past, utilize all of our resources legally, utilities department, the building department, the growth management department, the legal department. We've heard the residents that have obviously well-researched bring up concerns from growth management, for legal. If they are within the radius of another facility, our legal department needs to review that on our behalf. These are our residents. I would tell you, the folks that are paying thousands of dollars, their family members or their insurance company, with all due respect to them, they're not our residents. These are our residents. So they need to know that every opportunity, the whole function of Martin County government needs to be reviewing this. Because if it was any one of us up here, if it was my street, I'd be just as angry as these folks are. And young man, you did a remarkable job this morning. And I wish you were here under different circumstances. And I'm assuming in the future we'll be celebrating you as we have others today. And I'm sad that you have to go through this. And I hear what you're saying about you and your younger brother. You should, of course, be allowed to ride your bike and walk around in your neighborhood. And ma'am, you shouldn't have to figure out how to defend yourself as you're getting into your car. John and Michelle were in their garage. Now, I get that that's a weird set of circumstance, but this breaks my heart that the neighborhood has to go through, just several years later, another horror show. And with that, I yield back.
Mr. Smith.
I think before I speak, and I don't know that you could really say much more than Ed shared with us, but I think it would be important for Elise to at least go through the process so that everybody understands what footing we're on, and then I'll have comments after Elise.
Of course, Elise Elder, Deputy County Attorney. So the county has a reasonable accommodation procedures in its general ordinance. This is done in accordance with the American Disabilities Act, the Federal Fair Housing Act. This enables anybody to apply, fill out an application and ask for a reasonable accommodation from having to comply with a code, a regulation, something within the county. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get that accommodation, but anybody can apply for that. The county takes that application. It goes through our growth management department. They make sure the application is complete. Once the application is complete, they will set a hearing in front of an independent hearing officer. Staff does a staff report. They don't recommend, they don't participate in the decision-making process, but they do a staff report for the hearing officer. And then once the hearing is noticed, there is a quasi-judicial hearing that will occur in front of the hearing officer. It is the burden of the applicant to establish standing, to establish that they need this accommodation, to establish it's reasonable based on the evidence presented in that hearing. The hearing officer is well-versed in this area of law. This area of law is federal regulations, but there's also a long line of case law that establishes when you have to give a reasonable accommodation. So the hearing officer hears all the evidence presented and then makes a decision based on the evidence presented. So it doesn't go before the Board of County Commissioners. I've spoken to a lot of residents, and I know we've had a lot of public comment. The best way for you to participate in the hearing is to do written public comment, and staff will provide all of that to the hearing officer during the hearing. So that's the best way to participate. Of course, you're welcome to do this, but the hearing officer won't hear this. It has to be the evidence presented at the hearing that he has to evaluate. So that's the overall process.
Thank you, Elise. I I think it's always important to try to frame the conversation, because some of it seems incredibly obvious that it shouldn't be this way, but it is. And unfortunately, whether our hands are tied or not, there are certain things we must and have to do. What I would share with you all, and I shared with, I think, some of you last meeting about this, this is yet another opportunity. And young man, you did do an amazing job, and you are going to be part of what I'm going to ask for next. I will get our staff, or we will get our staff, to get a recording of all of the public comment that was given here today. And we will send it to our federal delegation, meaning our 2 state senators and our congressmen. There is also a Florida delegation that meets on a regular basis in D.C., and we will copy the Florida delegation on your comments, your parents' comments, your friends, neighbors' comments. Because there is, and there is always an opportunity to address something that doesn't work and shouldn't work. And you all coming here today and being part of that process is super important. But I have a funny feeling it's going to take a lot more, because I know this has gone on in other counties and it's gone on in other jurisdictions to no avail. But it is time to impress upon the Florida delegation, who is the 3rd largest delegation in the country. They have the power and they have the ability to pass laws in Congress that no other state other than Texas and California can get done on their own, by the sheer amount of votes that Florida has. We are that powerful of a state to address fixing what's wrong. And however they got to where they got, I wasn't part of that conversation. I don't remember that actual conversation going on. But it is time to move mountains in D.C. and get them to fix it and stop it. Because if it's not your neighborhood, it's somebody else's neighborhood. And it's another neighborhood. And it's obscene what they're doing to you. It's not fair. And it doesn't really, I would imagine all 4 of us up here would tell you, we probably don't care what the ADA laws say because of what it's doing to you. Sure, they have rights, but so do you.
Fight.
Huh?
They got to stand up and fight.
And so the best way I know to do this is to take the conversation to D.C. and have it with our delegation of Florida, certainly with our local delegation. But I've met multiple times with Rubio, I've met multiple times with Scott and our congressman, and they will listen. And if there is an avenue, if there is I have no doubt there is a way to carve out something that changes what they have done. And it's incumbent upon us up here to convey that message to them, but we need your help. Clearly, you're here today for the second time, but we'll need your help in D.C. I would encourage all of you, young man, you as well, because you are really good at, how old are you? How old? 10? You're remarkable at 10. I would encourage all of you to send your comments to that delegation, to our Treasure Coast delegation to start with as a starting point. But we will copy the entire Florida delegation on your comments because it's all videoed and it's all recorded. And regardless of what the magistrate does or doesn't do because of the laws and the rules by which that individual has to work within, we can do our own campaign outside of that process, which will have to happen. Because even if they get 5 members in the House, the same concerns are going to exist. Those concerns are not going to change from the doctors that spoke this morning and from the conditions that will exist. If there's 5 or 14, it doesn't matter. It'll only take one to mess it all up. So I hope you'll work with us. I suspect that you will. And we will do everything within our power on our end to help. I can assure you that. I don't mean to set that conversation aside, but I have a few other comments, and I know we have other commissioners that want to speak. Today was probably one of the most sobering public comment moments, I think, for me in my 24 years of doing this. Ms. John, and I wish you were still here today, that was a remarkable speech, comment that she gave us all this morning. No matter what's going on in our lives, no matter what we're dealing with, I don't know how anybody can quite compete with that story, other than other veterans' family members. I'm glad she came. I hope everybody gets to hear her comments. If you weren't here, I hope you get to watch them. Very hard to hear, though, and very, very moving in many, many different ways. Autism Month, to the family that got up and spoke on behalf of autism. A lot of the inspiration behind my hope that this board could fund Special Olympics last year in our budget was exactly what her comments were all about. And she said it to the T. Her hope and dreams for both her child and others are to have access to things that others would otherwise not have. And at least in some small way, our beginning to fund a Special Olympics program in a more robust way here from Martin County's side of things may help her family some, and certainly others in the autism world. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair. I thank you for all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, returning to voyage recovery, can these neighbors be interveners in the special magistrate hearing?
There's nothing in our code that allows for interveners in this, and because of the federal law and the American Disabilities Act, no, they can't be. And there's not even public comment at these hearings. That's why the written public comment will be submitted.
Okay, so once again, I'll repeat, written public comment. Please submit those to the magistrate for his review. It will make a difference. And I'm sure that we're all sensitive to addiction treatment. It's absolutely vital, but as Dr. Merriam said, relapses occur, they will occur, and it's absolutely incompatible that these relapses occur in your neighborhood. So rest assured that we will do everything that we can to protect this neighborhood and your neighbors.
And to me, you all are my constituents in my district. And the fortunate part of being the chair is you get to go last. And I don't think I could expand on any more of Commissioner Campy with my other commissioners' comments. And I can assure you, we are here unanimously for you and will do everything in our power. Commissioner Smith.
Just a final comment to what Ms. Elder said about the participation process. Please copy the legal department. I think it's probably the best. I think if there were a single point of contact, I would copy all of your written correspondence, everything that you generate to Ms. Elder, if that's the right person, because that way collectively we can assemble all of that and send it to DC to our delegation to prep them for what's coming to them.
Even if they can't speak at the meeting, they can be at the meeting, correct? It's public.
It's a public meeting. Anybody can attend the meeting. We don't have.
Build a room up.
Yes. We don't have it scheduled yet, but once we do, if you call, we can give you that information. And my email address is eelder@martin.fl.us.
Can you do that one more time?
eelder@martin.fl.us.
Okay. Mr. Donaldson.
No, I'll reserve my comments at the end of the day. Thank you.
Cool. And with that, we are very close to our 10:30 mandatory closed captioning breaks. We will take 10 minutes. Thank you.